that we're recording. And today we are going to focus on figuring out how to get your foundations built in your business so that you can have consistent 5-figure months. All right. So really quick, I like to get these parties started by everyone jumping into the chat, saying hello, letting us know that you're here. Get to connect with the other women here. A huge part of the empowered coaching community is building sisterhood and community with other women in the space. So go ahead and jump into the chat now. Start saying hi. Let us know who you are. What do you do? What are you most excited about learning in today's masterclass? Why did you join? Whatever it is that you feel like sharing, jump over there now and start to connect with each other. A big thing that you're going to see, if you've ever been in my world, you already know this. If you're new, hi, it's very nice to get to know you. I'm a generator. So if you're in the chat asking questions or affirming or saying things or whatever, it's going to help me respond more and create even more energy than I already have inside of the group. So the more you want to hang out in that chat, and I'm going to actually prompt you all to answer questions. I might even pull some people up during this masterclass to help you identify where some gaps might be in your current strategy so that we can get you to 5-figure months. Now, obviously, the path to 5-figure months is a journey, right? Some of us have already had them. We're looking to create more consistency with them. Some of us are like, can you please help me get to like a 5-figure month, like or 5K month, like not even so much a 5-figure month, but can you just show me what I need to know so that I can start creating some more momentum in my business and having some consistency with my sales. So I am going to cover all of that today for you. It's going to be an overview of the strategies that you need. Obviously, we can only do so much in 90 minutes. So at the end of this masterclass, I'm going to tell you about 2 different ways that you can continue on with me in 2 very accessible containers that I have. One is long-term, one is a shorter term, if you want to go deeper into this work. But we are going to cover a lot today. So make sure that you have your water, your pen and your paper, you're settled in, you have a distraction-free area. If you have to leave, that's okay. The replay is going to go out afterward. If you're somebody who's like, I can't take notes and listen at the same time, then don't try to do that. Come back and watch the replay afterward. It's fine. You're going to have access to this for freaking ever. I'm not somebody who like gives you something and then takes it away 3 days later. Like you have access to this forever. You get to come back and watch it. I see you all popping off in the chat. I just love you guys so much. Let me come over here before I get into the honey, the Katie Cash raffle and tell you a little bit about that. So excited to be here the first time live, Boise, Idaho. Hello. Hi, Ruby. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Dana. Oh, gosh. Yeah, definitely connect on Instagram. Hello, Claire. I am so excited to see you all here. So many of you have been with me for quite some time. Others are brand new, and I love all of that. I love to have this mixture. And a big thing that we're going to talk about today is one of the things that most people have misconceptions around is like, you're going to build your business off of a lot of repeat customers. Like they're going to be people that are coming into your world over and over and over again. And that's a really good thing. That means you're providing really great containers. You have a product path that works and that people are loyal to your brand. Okay. And I'll go more into that in just a moment, but I just want everyone here who's been with me for all the master classes, whether you've invested in something or not, but has been with me for so long. I love you all so much. I appreciate you. I think you all are amazing. I am like praying for you. You're on gratitude lists all the time. Like I think you all are just literally the shit and I love you. And I'm so happy that you're here today. And I'm so happy to continue to build your business with you. So thank you for coming. And for those of you who are new, welcome to the party. This is going to be a jam-packed masterclass. If you've been following me for some time, you already know you're in for some sass, you're in for some cussing, you're in for some like Dom Daddy straightforward, tell you how it is. I like to cut the fluff. I'm not here for like fluffy, like skirt around what's actually happening. I'm going to give you direct things that you can do today to grow your business. Okay. But it takes action and it takes support to really take that to the next level, but you're going to have real action steps when you leave today. So be ready for that. Okay. So I have started a thing that I do in all my master classes now, and it's called the Katie Cash Raffle. If you saw it in the email, then you already know what I'm talking about, but maybe you kind of are like me and you just open an email and click the link and don't read it. And that's cool too. But what we are doing for this masterclass is you get points. Okay. So if you want to take a picture while you're attending the masterclass and you post it on Instagram, you get points for that. If you share the I'm in graphic, you get points for that. If you post in the group, you get points for that. The more points you get, the more opportunities you have to win. And what the prizes are is third place, you get 1 month inside the 5-Figure Month Society for free. How many here in the 5-Figure Month Society? I think quite a few of you are. It's the fucking place to be. It is the place to be. There is so much information, so many tools, so much support, so much community there for you to connect and grow and build your business to 5-figure months. It's literally I teach the exact strategies that I'm going to be talking about in here today that have allowed me to grow my business for the past 3 years and have back-to-back 5-figure months ranging from 10K to 50K. So you third place, you'll get 1 month free for that. In second place, you get a 20-minute session with me. You have to claim that though. I can't tell you how many people have won and like don't reach out and don't claim their spot. So I don't helicopter anybody. So if you don't reach out, you're not going to get it. But if you reach out, I'll send you the link and you can book. Okay. Now, first place is the funnest. That's not a word, is the one that's the most fun. And that's $222 in Katie's Cash that you can apply to anything that's over $555. So it basically cuts anything that you want in my world from now for the next 3 months forward in half for you, basically. Because I have a lot of programs that are 550 to like 777 that are insanely transformational for you and your business. And so you can use that Katie's Cash towards any of those. And there are some invites today at the end of the program. And yes, you can use the Katie's Cash towards them if you win. Now, I realized that I said I was going to announce the winners at the end of today, but that doesn't give you a chance to get points. So I'm going to go live in the group tomorrow and announce the winners inside of the Facebook group. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, it's in your emails. Go do that because that's where the replay is going to live. That's where everything is. You'll also get an email after this that's going to give you the replay. Okay. We've gotten all the boring stuff out of the way. We've gotten all the housekeeping stuff out of the way. Now we're going to jump into the meat and potatoes of this training where we are going to start diving into those 5 strategies. So I am going to pull up my share screen here. And I am going to share this document with you. You are going to get access to this document immediately after the training. So you don't need to like worry about like screenshotting it or anything like that. I'm going to give everything to you right afterward. Let me figure out how to do this on my laptop really quick. Okay. So we have... It won't let me present. I don't want to present and record. Let's just download it and then we'll open it up. Okay. So we're going to jump into the 5 must-haves to consistent 5-figure months. And as I'm pulling this up, let me tell you a little bit about what my business used to look like. So when I first started my business, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, honestly. Like I thought I knew what I was doing because I had ran an Etsy business and done some business to business marketing for treatment facilities while I was working in substance abuse here before I became a therapist. And also while working as a therapist, I was also doing marketing and social media marketing for some of these companies. So when I left my 9 to 5 and was like, oh, hey, I'm going to start a coaching business. Yay, this is going to be amazing, right? I realized very quickly that I actually didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And that signing clients was not going to be as easy as I thought it should be, right? I thought for sure I was just going to like put my name up on social media, start talking about that I was a coach, and start having 10K months. Like I thought that's what was going to happen for me. And that was not the case. For the next 6 months, I had no clients and I struggled. But you want to know what's so amazing, and this is why I believe so deeply in the power of the universe, and I have such deep faith in my creator, because I was always taken care of throughout that whole time. Even though I had no clients coming in and no 9 to 5, like I always somehow had the credit available, or I would find the money for gas, literally finding money in my hallway of my apartment. Like, how does that happen? Or they kept paying me at my old job for longer than they should have. And eventually I had to be honest and like, hey, you're still paying me. But like, that was nice for like 2 weeks, right? Like somehow I was taken care of. So I just want to thank God for that. And what I'm saying here is that like, having that money coming in helped me feel safe to continue to try to build my business. And then when I eventually did invest, like I depleted all of those resources. And I don't recommend that for anyone. I don't recommend leaving your 9 to 5 without knowing how to create consistent income. Like you can work your 9 to 5 and work on your business. If you have to take out a loan or ask for help or get a part-time job, like do that, because we're going to learn in the first must-have around nervous system regulation. Like you are not going to be able to fully immerse yourself into your business and your creative process and build the resiliency that you need if you're in a state of fight or flight and you're completely hijacked and you feel unsafe because you don't know where your food is going to come from. So I do not recommend just like jumping ship and leaving a 9 to 5 or investing beyond your means. I don't think that that's smart. I know that sometimes we hear that in the space a lot, but I actually think that's the wrong answer. And the right thing to do is to have some type of resources coming in that can pay your bills, get your groceries, your kids fed, whatever you need, and then work on your business simultaneously until you can start creating those consistent months. And then you actually need the time to invest more into your business because you have clients, you have programs launching, you have deliverables that need to be sent out, you're growing, you're scaling. Now you're a full-time CEO, right? But like you can still have a business and or still have your 9 to 5 and be running your business. That doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. Okay, so I just want to say that really quick because my story is not what I recommend for everyone, but I was struggled for a long time. And then when I finally like invested in my first course, which was $997, I depleted my credit cards and I learned how to launch. And I didn't realize it doesn't fucking matter if I know how to launch if I have no idea how to message to my ideal client. I hadn't even fully niched yet. I didn't even know what any like messaging, like what was that? I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I'm just going to launch and make $10,000, right? Oh yeah, sure. And like, that did not happen. My launch flopped. No one signed up. And I ended up finding the means and the resources and asking for help. And I invested in a one-to-one coach. So like I got on a payment plan. I took all the money I had left, like from all the different credit cards in different places, asked for help from my dad, and I invested in a one-to-one coach. 45 days later, I had my first 10K month, which was fucking phenomenal. Like I was on the moon. I was like, this is amazing. And the funniest part was I didn't even realize that I hit a 10K month because I was just so in the flow of like, okay, I'm learning, I'm doing. And a big reason that happened is because of how consistent I was when I thought it was failing, when I thought the launch was failing, when I thought no one was listening to me online, but I was still posting every day and still talking about my offers every day and doing all that. There were tons of people watching that wanted to hire me. I just didn't have a good offer yet. Hear that. We're going to talk about it in the 5 figures yet. So I didn't have a good offer yet, and I didn't have the copy and the messaging that converted. We're going to talk about that too. And so when I got those two pieces of the puzzle together, boom, 10K month. But it didn't stay there. How many of you have had a 10K month and then we're like, is this ever going to fucking happen again? Or like, oh, it happens like once every blue moon, or like, when the eclipse happens, I have a 10K month. I don't know. Like it happens so sporadically. You have no idea, like when there's no consistency there. Let me know if you're there. Let me pop over to the comments and see what you guys are saying over here in the chat. I left my job and made 10K months for the first 6 months, but I was burned out. I could have done it differently. I would have. Yeah, for sure. struggle with in the beginning, finally got a side gig. Yeah, absolutely. There's no shame in that. Like, we want to have something that helps us feel safe. We need to feel safe. It is the basic of our needs. We have to have we have to feel safe. And so there's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, like there's also nothing wrong with if you've had a big month and then an income dip, like you're not necessarily doing anything wrong. But what I learned from that over the next 5 to 6 months of not hitting a 10K month again, and my income fluctuating from 8K to a 1K month, like I was like, there's something off here. There's got to be a way to create more consistency. Now, the name of the game with entrepreneurship is uncertainty in itself. But like, I was like, there has to be, obviously there's pieces here that I can put into place that can create more consistency. There are actual actions I can take and systems that I can follow that are going to allow me to create more consistency. And that was when I built out my sales system, which we're going to talk about today. I built out a sales system that generated leads daily, brought people into my world, and then nurtured them and built relationships with them, and then converted them into paying clients. Many of them stayed with me for multiple years. Many of them I still have in my world circulating around doing different things, right? And that was 3 years ago. And so that last part of this that we're not really going to get into today, but I am going to touch on a lot, is brand. And that's because I have a really strong personal brand. You know who I am. When you read my content, you know who I am. You know what I stand for. You know the stories I tell. You believe what I believe. And it's because I'm willing to share myself online and have done a lot of work building that personal brand. And Dana says, after my first 4K day, I thought it would happen every month and it didn't. And that sucks. And this is where we're going to jump into the first one, is like, how do we hold the belief? How do we have the resiliency to keep going when it's like, fuck, I want something so bad and it's not happening yet? So I want to start there with everybody. Like, how many of you really are striving for a goal and you haven't hit it yet? Or maybe you hit it one time and you haven't been able to do it again. Let me know in the chat what that goal is and maybe how long you've been working towards it, because there's no shame in that. I've been working towards having a 60K month for 3 years and it hasn't happened yet, but I'm not bad or wrong because it hasn't happened, and I don't change the goal. I just continuously take the actions in inventory, pivot, make the shift, do what I need to do. And it's this weird thing that happens because when you're getting to your first 10K month, it really is about strategy. Like, it really is about strategy. But once you start scaling beyond like 15K, 20K months, it becomes an inner game. It becomes an inner game, and it's like, it's the most beautiful journey of awakening, but it's also like a fucking shit show sometimes. You're like, oh my God, like, I don't understand. What can I change? I signed a one-to-one client this year and then nothing. 20K months sustainable. Yes. So 20K months is my average. So I'm with you, Melissa. I'm if I could help anybody hit a 20K month, because I've done it so many freaking times. Like, that's my baseline in my business. I've been working towards a 5-figure month for over a year. However, I figured out so much about messaging along the way. Exactly. And here's the thing is, like, don't take my story as the common story. I am so grateful. The first year in my business, like, after I sorted out all that shit and I put the sales system into place, I had my first 12K month. Then I started having 20K months and 30K months. And then I had a couple 40K and a 50K. And then it's fluctuated between, 20K to 40K. There's a 10K here or there, or 15K, because income dips happen. It's normal. I had so much shame my first income dip, but I want to normalize that here today. Like, it's normal. But my average is 20K. That's where my set point is. I could do that with my eyes closed. So I want to show you how to do that today. And it's because I have systems and strategies in place. But also, we have to understand that, like, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like, it's guaranteed because I've been doing it for a year, or it's guaranteed because I did it for 6 weeks or whatever. Like, when you see people market to you, I guarantee that you can have a 10K month in the next 90 days. There's no guarantee there for any entrepreneur. The reality is that a very small percentage actually move past the 6-figure mark. And I don't know about you, but when I hear statistics like that, I think to myself, well, that's going to be me. Because I know, is anybody here in recovery? If you're in recovery, you'll relate to this. But I've been in recovery for over 12 years now. And when I first got into the rooms, I went to AA, even despite the fact that I'm a recovering heroin addict. Like I went to Alcoholics Anonymous because that's where I found my home. And they do this thing at the end where you hold hands and you close out the meeting and you pray. And they would say to us, look to your left and look to your right because only one of you is going to make it. And this was when I was in treatment. And they were trying to I don't really agree with the tactics, but it was very true because the statistics are itty fucking bitty. And all I can remember is I didn't have any judgments or beliefs like I do say about that. But I just remember standing there and looking at both of them and being like, it ain't gonna be me. I'm gonna be fucking sober. Like I'm gonna be sober. I'm rebuilding my life. I'm gonna do this. And that's how I feel about entrepreneurship is like, I'm going to do it. Like there isn't any option. There's no plan B. I'm going to make this work. And we were having this conversation on Ascension before this call. And I was like, they were like, who's here today, she asked me a question. She was like, what do you do when you're not motivated by the money anymore? Like you've made the money and it's not the motivation anymore, which is something that happens when you start making more money and you're moving out of trauma responses and regulating your nervous system. And I was like, it becomes this weird thing of like, you just do it because it's who you are. Like you don't need the drive and you don't need the motivation anymore. You just do it because it's who you are. Like if I thought about right now, let's say worst case scenario, I lose everything. I'm homeless, right? And I've been there before, so that doesn't scare me as much as it scares somebody else. But it's scary now because there's more to lose, right? But like, let's say that happened. God forbid it happens. I would literally be in the back of my car going live on Instagram, talking about how I can help people heal their life and watch me build my life back up. Like that's what I would be talking about because that's just who I am. I can't not do this. And when I think about going and working for somebody else, and I would love to hear what your responses are in the comments of like, what could it be like? Could you actually go back and work for somebody else? After doing this, for those of us who aren't still working for somebody else, but have like been doing this for a while, or maybe make your own schedule, absolutely fucking not. I can't. Like there becomes this threshold that you pass and it's like, I can't go back. There is no going back. It's like the point of no return, the entrepreneurship point of no return. Like you're going to figure out how to fucking make it work. And the beauty is that it will work. If you're consistent and you're continuously taking honest and compassionate inventory around like what's working, what's not working, pivot, change, message, commit, do the things, work on the mindset, do the things like, and you're just committed to just doing the work all around, inner and outer, it's going to work for you. I can't tell you how long. I really wish I fucking could. You guys have no idea. When I look at some of my clients and some of them just like take off from the get and some of them are doing the same things and doing great, but it's taking longer for them. I want to be like, I wish I had a fucking crystal ball and I could tell you when, but I know how to support you through that process, right? Like I know how to support you through that process. And I know the women I work with are just fucking committed and there isn't any turning back once you start. I work at a restaurant 2 days a week and that's my max. Exactly. Like if I think about if I ever, it would be like, I would do like Uber Eats or be a server. I think I'm a little bit too old to go strip, but that can make me some money too. I think Claire and I had this conversation before where it was like, maybe I'll just strip. It's like, you're not going to, but you play with these fucking ideas. You're like, you see them walk, you see like the memes with the girl with like the bucket of cash walking off stage and you're like, I could twerk. But it's like, you're not going to do it, but that there's no going back to working on a 9 to 5. Like entrepreneurship is the only way. Let me see. Or maybe it was me and Dana at the retreat who had that conversation. Girl, you ain't too old for that. Next thing you know, I'm already doing the pole classes. I go tonight again for the pole class. So next thing you know, I'm gonna be like, how to make 10K being a stripper? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So let's go ahead and jump into like all the things that I covered. When I was telling you this story, I hit on the things that have allowed me to have these back-to-back consistent 5-figure months and be at a place now where I've generated over $650,000 in less than 3 years within my business. And it feels almost like unbelievable to say these things, but like, that's what it is today. And I'm on a mission to make sure that other women can do this for themselves too. So let me open here. Okay. I got the PDF working. So we have our visual now. Let me come back to my share screen. I feel you. I've been waitressing on and off for about the same. All right, let's come over here. And let's jump into this. All right. So we are going to cover the 5 must-haves today. And so you're going to get this in the handout. This is just me introducing myself. But one of the things that you're going to hear me talk about a lot when I'm speaking about strategies is how to put the person first and make sure that you are building your business from a place where you're regulated, putting your mental health first. I sprinkle in a lot of spirituality because I just don't even know how you could be an entrepreneur and not be spiritual. Like, I just don't even understand like how people are doing it without some sense of spirituality or belief in something bigger than themselves. So I talk a lot about that as well. And I work with women who are cycle breakers, who are here to make a change in the collective, who believe that they're meant for more. And the work that I do is not only just mastering strategy of marketing, sales, offer creations, launching, scaling, all of the things, but also my history is I worked as a therapist for 5 years before I came into building my business as a coach. And I didn't start off as a business coach. I was a mindset coach for female professional women. And then I went into burnout coaching for social workers because that's what my degree is in. And I've worked with a lot of social workers and I understand what that's like. And I was able to scale my business to 10K, 5K, 8K months as a mindset coach. And even when I started moving into business coaching, I was only doing mindset coaching. I wasn't teaching strategy. So if you have any belief in your mind that like you can't make money unless you're a business coach, it's bullshit. It's not true. You can make money as a mindset coach. You can make money as a healer. I have coaches and clients that are healers and light workers and energy workers, and they're making 10K, 15K, 20 months selling programs specifically around like shadow work and energy work and mindset and healing and things like that. So I don't want you to see me and be like, oh, well, she teaches how to make money, so I have to teach how to make money in order to make money, because it's not true. That's a distorted belief and it's not real. And I have the proof to show it because most of my clients are not business coaches. They're healers, they're light workers, they're counselors, they're therapists, they're coaches. And they know that they're here for more. And I do a lot of inner work with them as well as teaching them the strategy. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about that today. Inside of today's training, I'm going to teach you the 5 must-have structures, systems, and beliefs you need to hit 10K months. I'm going to show you how to identify the shifts that you need to make in order to hit 5-figure months and keep them. So that could be 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K, whatever. And I'm going to reveal the next steps that need to happen in order for you to start moving in that direction, right? To start taking the actions needed to get there. So let's go ahead and jump into must-have number 1. And must-have number 1 is not a sexy one. It's not this like super complicated one. It's simply just having belief resilience and a regulated nervous system. So really quick in the chat, how many of you are familiar with nervous system regulation? Like, how many of you are doing daily practices in nervous system regulation? Melissa says, I'm a social worker, hence why I was so attracted to you and your work. I love you. Social workers, we're our own type of breed. We're our own type of breed. It's a special kind of person who desires to be a social worker. Non-negotiable. Nervous system regulation work is a non-negotiable. It is a non-negotiable in my world. And I have been doing nervous system regulation work since before nervous system regulation work was cool. Since before I even knew I was doing nervous system regulation work, right? Like, I just knew I was protecting my energy and using coping skills and like creating practices in my daily life that benefited my mental health, right? So I can attribute a huge part of my success. A huge part of my success. I wish I had some way to measure this and like quantify it for you so that I could like put a chart up and prove it. But like, the reason I was able to scale my business so quickly is because I had already been doing the nervous system regulation work and the belief work for over a decade before I started. Maybe not over a decade, but close to a decade before I started, right? From being in recovery and getting sober, right? Which, if any of you know the journey that is that, right? Going through my own therapy, being in a treatment center for 12 months, pregnant, going through trauma therapy, like I had done a lot of work on myself and then continued to expand from there and doing the work with therapists and in my 12-step program and then my own personal development journey and then becoming a therapist and all the education and everything around that. Like there's just so much. Yeah. Dana says former yoga and meditation teacher here, right? Like, and I know so many of you come into my world because you resonate with this part of my message and you resonate with my firm stance on this. But I can tell you, this is how I was able to scale. This is how I was able to keep going and not give up and hold the belief when no one was signing up with me. This is why some of you are able to do this today. Like when you're still figuring out the process is because you have this in place. And that's why I say it's the number one must have, because here's the thing, you can scale. I can teach you how to market and sell. I can definitely teach you how to market and sell. I can show you how to get clients. And you know what? If you're a hustler, AKA dysregulated, you're probably fucking going to be really good at making that money. But I can tell you what happens is that there comes a point where your regulation will supersede how much money you're making and all the money will fall away and your nervous system will go into shutdown and you'll have a dorsal response and you won't be able to show up anymore. Or you'll get so frantic and so anxious because you're in a fight or flight response that you'll just push all the money away and be like, how the fuck am I bankrupt and making multiple six figures a year? Like, I don't even understand it, right? Because we have protection patterns in place when we're living from a state of dysregulation or trauma responses. So it is so fucking important that every single day we are doing nervous system regulation work. Not only when shit is hard and we feel dysregulated or anxious or stressed out, and then we're like, oh, got to implement those practices. That is not proactive. That is an intervention. We don't want an intervention. We want to be proactive, because when we're proactive, then we're in a state where we can expand our capacity more. We feel confident to take more risks. When shit does get hard, we can shift back quicker. So when we talk about resiliency, and I should have also said a resilient nervous system, but regulated and resilient are part of the rich, resilient, regulated brand that I have. But like, resilient means to adapt and overcome quickly. So when we are in a place of high stress, we can adapt and overcome quickly in that situation because our nervous system isn't sensitive, it's resilient. Doing the cleaning daily and your house stays clean. Thank you, Claire. Perfect way to say it. When you do the daily cleaning, your house stays clean. It's the same thing with your nervous system. This is why I call it somatic hygiene inside of rich, resilient, and regulated, because we're keeping it clean. We're keeping the body clean. We're moving through the stress response daily through intentional actions. So nervous system regulation, part A of the first must-have. Part B of the first must-have is the belief resilience. Let me ask you right now, do you believe in your body? Like, you can even take your hand and place it on your heart and ask yourself the question as I'm asking it and really check in with yourself. And I want you to see, do you believe that what you want, your success, is inevitable? Do you believe that this is meant for you? And even when those intrusive thoughts come in, do you still believe that higher part of you know that this is meant for you? And there's literally no question that you're going to like ever stop or give up. Like, there has to be this obsessiveness. Like, I am going to fucking succeed. And I'm not talking about obsessive from like an unhealthy place, but like this healthy obsession. If we look at any person who has been like wildly successful, they will tell you a story of heartache and trial and tribulation and how they were just like so obsessed with making it work that nothing could stop them. Like, even when everyone else thought that they were batshit crazy, they kept going because they were obsessed and they believed so deeply and vigilantly and unwavering in their faith of what was going to happen for them. You're delulu, right? Like, you have to be a bit delulu in that belief. Claire says, I know I'll never quit or slow down, but the money part is unsure. Interesting. That's interesting. So there we go. We have some contrast here. It's like, okay, this belief, this part of my belief system has been integrated. It's moving in the right, I call it a belief map. That part of the GPS is tuned in. But then we have the money part over here that we need to get tuned in with the belief that I'm going to be successful. So there's some great information there for you, Claire. Most of the time people give up too soon because they think it's not working. Hallelujah. I cannot tell you how many people have paid me a lot of money. And for like 90 days, right, of coaching, because it's typically what packages are. And I'm like, I'll tell them like, okay, I'm going to get you started. We're going to get going, or we're going to get this done in the next 90 days. And then we'll start going. And 6 weeks in, they're like, I'm not making $1 million yet. What am I doing wrong? It sucks. It's not meant for me. It's not working, blah, blah, blah. And then when we get in that attitude, we can't even see when it is working. I can't tell you how many clients are signing multiple clients a month, and we have to have the conversation of like, it's working. And they're like, it's not working. I'm like, it's working. You're signing multiple clients a month, right? Like you're signing 5 or 6 clients a month. I just had a conversation with a client today, and I love her so very much because she reminds me of me. She just had a 12K launch. Of like within 5 weeks of launching, she had a 12K launch of her mastermind. And I'm like, you realize you just had a 12K launch, right? I'm like, she's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the number yet that I want to be at, like for signups. I'm like, okay, well, how many people did you sign? How much is it? Oh, you just made a $12,000 launch. She's like, oh, right. And like, we lose perspective when we let that creep in, which we are all vulnerable to. Like, it's going to happen. But we have to, this is where the belief resilience comes in, is we have to believe that even when it's working or not working, and we get in that place, or like, we're not there yet, it's going to work for us. And there has to be like this relentless, like, pursuit in it. And that's not to say we compromise our nervous system, or we compromise our mental health, or we burn ourselves out. But there has to be this relentless, I will not fucking give up, I believe that this is happening for me type mentality. Yes, today is an emotion day, so that's fine. Your vibes aren't off. You're just a human experiencing emotions. You're fine. Your vibes aren't off at all. You're just here, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and all emotions are welcome here. And I love this. And this is what I mean by it's hard. It's like that belief resilience might sound really easy to some of us who are like, I've been doing it for 6 months and I'm kind of there, and like, da-da-da-da. But for those of us who are like, oh, been doing this for a long time and I'm not there yet, like, what the fuck is going on, right? Like, this is when this shit really kicks in, and it really becomes like the hardest thing. I plateaued at 45 years as a healer, 4 years working part-time while healing myself, ready to break free and quadruple sales, here for next steps. Fuck yes. Fuck yes, I'm here for it. So let's look at this little part over here, which is your little box where you're going to do your work. And I want to do a little bit of this together here, but I want you to go into this workbook afterward and actually do this and start to get clarity. So I want you to tell me, like, what belief do you need to hold? What belief do you need to remind yourself of? What belief do you need to program in your mind every single day so that you can remain consistent? What are your daily practices of nervous system regulation work that are going to help you remain consistent? And how can you build the confidence that 10K months, 20K months, 30K months are available to you, and that you can hold them? And this is work that we would do if you're like around, like, you know, if you're a little bit higher now and you're like, I don't know, I've had a big month. I've had this big cash month that's bigger than I've ever had, but I haven't had it again. One of the things I would ask you is like, well, how do we start to feel safe holding that amount of money consistently? How do we start to create safety in the body around that number? So that you can feel safe holding it and remaining it and stabilizing it, because that's the biggest thing. And the biggest mistake I see here, for those of you who are like, Katie, how do I make this consistent? The biggest mistake I see is that we have the big month and then we're like, I'm going bigger. I had a 10K month. I'm ready for a 6-figure month. And it's like, whoa, hold on. Can we stabilize where we're at first? It's like, all right, like, you had a 10K month. Let's try to repeat a 10K month. What were you doing during the month that you had a 10K month? What were you doing during the month that you had a 12K month? Why does it feel unsafe to have that again? And what can we do to try to repeat what you did, removing whatever made you feel unsafe? Maybe you burnt out after it. Maybe you had like launch exhaustion or something like that. Like, how can we start to look at what made you feel unsafe of having it again? And then look at, okay, well, how do we replicate it without the things that you felt harm from so that you can stabilize it and not just keep trying to go bigger and bigger and bigger? Because that's not going to be helpful and that's not good for the nervous system. If you try to replicate, you'll eventually scale. You're going to start just to compound the effects, and you'll grow at a speed that's safe for your nervous system. I've been doing the Rise and Vibe Journal daily, and it's helping me shift my beliefs and holding the vision. Yes. So before I got trained in like nervous system regulation and all of the things that I do today, like I am a trained therapist in cognitive behavioral therapy. So if I can help you do anything, I can definitely help you reprogram your fucking thoughts. Like that is what I am really fucking good at. So let's go ahead and jump into our second must-have. All right, so our second must-have, and now we're getting into more strategy daddy stuff, is crystal clear messaging that stops the scroll. How would you rate your current messaging? I'm going to get a sip of water because, as most of you know, I'm recovering from whatever this illness was that knocked me out for a week. My throat's still a little dry, but I would love to hear in the chat, how would you currently rate your messaging? Scale of 1 to 10. 10, anytime I ask you to scale anything, 10's the best, 1's the worst. So like 10 is the best messaging, 1 is the worst. You're like, you suck and you don't have any idea what you're doing. You don't suck, but your brain might be telling you that. And so like, where are you at on that scale? Because messaging, 7. Messaging is 7 out of 10, always ready to learn more. I think it's a 5. Yeah. So I definitely have, one thing I will always invest in is a coach who can help me with messaging and content. And I say this because this is how you bring people into your world. This is how you bring people into your world, is also how you sell your offers. So like, if you don't know how to message, or if you want to get better at messaging, to have more people coming in, to have more people clicking the link without asking a bunch of questions or hearing a bunch of objections or not having to think about it forever, getting really fucking good at messaging is the I don't want to call it a cure, but it's the solution to that. That's how you do that, right? And messaging is an evolution. It is an evolution, because as you evolve, your messaging evolves. As your soulmate client evolves, the person who you want to work with, your messaging has to evolve. Every time you put out a new offer, that messaging has to be formulated. It has to be refined. It has to be thought about. It has to be creative, right? I'm a boss at writing my clients' content and giving them a facelift. I'm currently feeling what, girl, yes, this is where it comes up. It's like, we could be a genius at doing this for other people, but what happens when we try to do it for ourselves? This is why I have a coach who helps me with this. I have a coach who does mindset, all the things. I have a coach who's literally me. Who is me, but just like a little bit further along, like in her business. But she's literally me and does all the same things, right? And I pray for that for you guys too, that you find a coach who feels like, damn, like I would definitely, like I could work with this person forever. And I pray that you feel like that about yourself too, that like I would pay me to coach me. Like I would definitely pay me to coach me, because I know I'm really fucking good at what I do. But sometimes when we go to do our own work, there's muck and there's fog created by thoughts and insecurities and doubt and all of that, right? And then all of a sudden we can't see anything. It's like, I can't get fucking clarity here. It's the forest and the trees, right? Like we can't see the bigger picture, what's right in front of our face, because we're looking at it through the wrong pair of glasses. We're looking at it through ourself and not through the coach who's looking at somebody else and isn't emotionally attached to it, right? And so that makes total sense. It makes total sense that you're there. And it makes total sense why some of you might feel like when you go to write a piece of copy, or you're working on messaging, for those of you who did messaging magic with me, you already know what time it is, like your brain hurts a little bit. You're like, fuck, am I doing it right? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I was literally doing this with a private client yesterday. We were setting up messaging for one of her offers that she's launching in October. And I do a whole process, right? Because my goal, what I've learned over the past 3 years, is that if I can get all of your messaging done on the front end, your launch, or even if you're not launching, just selling that thing, is going to be 10 times easier, and you're going to be 10 times more regulated. Like without a doubt, because you literally just have one document with all your messaging in it. Yes, it might have taken us a little while to put that together, and your brain might hurt a little bit after getting it all sorted out. But now for the next 4 to 6 weeks while you're selling that, for those of you who are familiar with launch sequences and stuff like that, that will be the time frame. But like it's just going to be so easy. And then the more you talk about it, the better you get at it. So by the time you're done with that first launching of that program, you're fucking brilliant at talking about it. Your messaging is on point, and then it just keeps getting better and better. And the better it gets, the easier it gets. The better it gets, the easier it gets, right? So this is our goal. So one of the things that you absolutely must have in place and continuously work on is crystal clear messaging. Because when you have crystal clear messaging, you're going to capture the attention of your dream clients. And believe it or not, that's the real commodity that we're all working towards getting on social media, is somebody's attention. It's not even about the sale, because once you have their attention, selling is easy. But it's about getting somebody's attention and them going, oh, she's talking to me. And I like the way that she's talking to me. And I think I'm going to follow her. And now she has my attention. And now I'm reading her actual captions, and I'm looking at her stories, and I'm doing the things. How many of you feel kind of invisible online right now? It's a normal thing if you feel that way, especially if you're like me and you were the invisible child in your house. Like that belief can come up a lot, where like, I feel invisible. I feel like nobody's listening. I feel like nobody's watching. And really, like, people are watching, but you can't see them. And I have a whole theory around this with social connection and how it dysregulates our nervous system, because we can't see people's faces. And we're looking for somebody to like a comment when we share ourselves with the world. And then we get wildly dysregulated because we feel like nobody's listening to us, and it triggers all these childhood wounds. But that's another story for another day. But like, that's what's happening. And so, yeah, definitely catch the recording. But that's what's happening, is like, we feel invisible, and then we're like, oh, it's not working, and when really what we're looking to do here is not base our success off of the metrics, but continuously focus on the actions we're taking to capture somebody's attention. And you'll know when you capture somebody's attention, because they will start engaging with your content, and they will start watching your stories. But there are also some people who are paying so much attention to you right now and haven't liked a thing, haven't commented on a thing, the lurkers, right? Maybe some of you are lurkers. I know I'm a lurker. When I hired my coach, she didn't even know, I wasn't even watching her stories. I was just reading her content. And honestly, unless you're my client and I'm supporting you, or you're in my world in some capacity, I'm really not liking posts. Like, I'm not somebody who double taps. I read, but I don't double tap. Right. But then I hire people and they had no idea I was even watching them. And I've had so many private clients that do the same thing. So like, our goal is to capture attention, and we kind of just almost have to hold the belief that like, people are always paying attention, but I'm just getting better at capturing more people's attention. You see how that helps us in creating content, so that we're not looking at it like, oh, nobody liked it, so it sucked and nobody saw it. It's like, no, like probably like 30 people saw it, but just didn't do anything with it, right? And so how can I get even better at capturing their attention and then getting them engaged? Because when we do this, then it leads to more DMs and inquiries. We attract clients who are ready to buy. We have more sales, and then we start to build a hot audience. How many of you are familiar with the term having a hot audience? How many of you know what I mean when I say that? When you have a hot audience, those are people who are ready to fucking buy from you. Right now, some of you might have a cold audience, or you might have a warm audience. And a big part of what I do in 5-Figure Month Society, and a program that's coming up, is Content to Cash Flow, which is going to be fucking amazing this time. It's always been amazing, but it's going to be even more amazing this time. We are going to talk about building that hot audience. Okay. Like, how do we actually get people who are engaged and ready to buy? A hot audience is when you see me put out an offer and I'm celebrating how 10 people signed up that day. That's a hot audience. Like, I put out links, people click, and they buy. So that's the goal that most of us want to have, and it starts with our messaging. It starts with our messaging, how we're communicating, what we do, how we're talking to our potential clients, and how we are capturing their attention. So in the box over here, You're going to tell me, who is your soulmate client? What keeps them up all night at night? What transformation do they want more than anything? So if I'm going to give you all a test right now. If I had to ask you to put in the box, the chat box, in one sentence or two, I'll give you two, who you help and how you help them and what transformation you get them, can you do that? And if you can, put it in here, because who knows, your ideal client might be watching right now while you're typing it in. I think losing my IG. Oh yeah, I bet, Claire, that was a rough one. That was a rough period right there. Right when you were like taken off too, you're like just like anchored in. Oh God, it's so annoying. It's all always working for us though, right? It's always working for us. I know some of you are typing and thinking. So, and as you're typing and thinking, you can listen. Because what we're doing here is, if you can tell me this in one sentence or two, then you know exactly who you are, what you do, and who you help. And that's going to help us in the offer creation, which is coming up next. But also, it is when we can say at least what we do in one sentence or two, and we know who we're talking to, now we can start diving deeper into their psychology and how to speak to them and what they want and what their dreams are, what their desires are, what their fears are, what their current problems are. Like when I ask you what's keeping them up at night, most coaches will tell me they don't know their purpose. And I'm like, I don't think that's what's keeping them up at night, right? Like that's probably not the thing that's keeping them up at night. They're probably like, damn, I don't know my purpose. I can't sleep now. No, they're like, I hate this fucking job. My boss is an asshole. I'm sick of living paycheck to paycheck. How the fuck am I going to get Billy, Joe, and Bob to gymnastics tomorrow and soccer and tuba class after my boss isn't going to let me out till fucking, 7 p.m. and I'm supposed to get out at 6. I hate my job and I hate my work. I wish I could do something else, but I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. That is messaging. If I wrote that in a post, somebody's going to read that and they're going to be like, how the fuck did she know that my kids are in gymnastics, tuba class, and soccer, right? Like somebody, and like, you're going to be like, but that's so specific, Katie, and so random. Yes. Fucking yes. That is the point. That is the point. Blaze. I help women grow their confidence so that they can ditch their relationship anxiety and attract their soulmate. Very good. She's scared to show themselves online, give them confidence that they're the best hidden secret anymore and get clients that fit. Yes, yes, yes. I help people in deep grief learn to rise out of the muck and learn to grow through their grief and find their new purpose. So then, okay, so think about this. Turn purpose into what I just did, Danielle. Turn purpose into some real life scenario that like what's like that grief is stopping them from living in. Right? Think of it. I always think of it, put it in action. Always put it in action. And it's a practice. We get better at this as time goes on. What keeps them awake? No clients. Yeah. That's exactly right. Okay. So, and here, I just want to say this really quick because sometimes people are like, oh, well, I'm not going to show them the content or the sales strategy to get clients. And it's like, no, you just need to be clear in your messaging, again, how you help them. Because how we help them is also part of the messaging. Because there are some people that, there might be some people here, but I've worked with many of them who know how to get clients. This is literally what we're doing in the Ascension program right now. Is like, they know how to get fucking clients. They know how to. They've learned all of the strategies, but there is mental and emotional resistance because of wounds and fears of visibility and being scared to receive and not feeling good enough and imposter syndrome that holds them back from getting clients. So yes, at night, they're thinking about, fuck, I wish I could just show up online so I could get clients. Like that's what's keeping them, damn, I didn't post again today. Fuck, I knew I should have posted today. I really need clients. Like, what am I going to do? And that's what's keeping her up at night. And so she's going to want to hire the woman who can help her with the visibility fears, not the one who's going to teach her another content strategy, because she's already in analysis paralysis with all the content strategies she's learned. My children is in Leo. My cryon. I'm like, my children, am I saying that right? Chiron is in Leo. So it's opposite for me. Yeah. Okay. Totally. So clear messaging is number 2. Let's jump into number 3. Now, here is where I don't want you to get confused, because there is content and then there is copy, okay? Copy is a structure of writing that moves people to action. So when you have good messaging and know how to write copy, you become fucking unstoppable. These are the keys to content. It's not just about, hey, I posted a reel with a happy little hook on it, and I wrote something nice in the caption, and now people are going to hire me. No. That would be one type of content. We'll cover this in content to cash flow, but like that is one type of content. That might be more visibility content. But content that converts, meaning it signs clients, requires messaging and knowing how to write copy that converts. So when we're talking about copy, there are different formulas to copy. And I teach these inside 5-Figure Month Society, but I'll give you one that is super easy to use that you can apply today. And that is the share, teach, reference. Okay. Share, teach, reference is the easiest one to teach because usually there aren't a lot of mental hangups that come from this style of writing. It's like you share your own win or somebody else's win, like a client's win or something that they moved through. Then you teach someone the overview of how to do it, like 3 steps to it. Then you talk about what will happen, the 3 things that will happen for them after they do these 3 things that you taught them, what's possible for them if they do these 3 things. Then you reference your program. This is literally the easiest copywriting style I have ever learned. And this is not mine. This is actually, if any of you follow Lauren of Love, before she was Lauren of Love, she was Business Babe. And she was one of my first teachers in learning how to write content. And I'm absolutely obsessed with her. And I just love her so much. But she teaches this. And this was one of, like, I had learned a bunch beforehand, but she taught this one. I'm like, this is the easiest thing. Like, this is so easy to teach somebody else. So when you think about writing a piece of content, think about intentionality. Copy is intentionality. Who am I talking to? Why do they want to read this? How can I help them see that I understand their problems? How will they know that I can help them solve those problems? What's going to happen for them after they solve those problems? Can I paint a picture of possibility for them if they apply what I'm teaching them? And then how do I position my offer at the end so that they know this is where they can come to get that solution? And that's copy that converts. It's not educational content. I'm not telling you to go teach somebody the 5 steps and then break it all down and do all the things. This is like, this is it. This is why. This is the how. This is what will happen. And this is what I give you inside of my program. And I think that that's the simplest way to break it down sometimes. And there's a bunch of other copywriting formulas. And learning how to do this is a process. But the goal is to create words that move people into action. It's almost like, do you remember in school when you had to write persuasive essays? It's kind of like that. Share, teach, reference. Yes. It's almost like a persuasive essay, persuasive writing. It is very much persuasive writing. So I'm going to go on a soapbox for 1 minute. I'm going to go on a soapbox for 1 minute. I know a common belief and thought for most people is, I don't want to have to convince people to buy from me. The reality is you absolutely have to convince people why they should pay attention to you, why they should hire you, and why your program is the right fit for them. And I'm not saying you have to do it in like stage 5 clinger, like follow them around and scream in their ear and like never shut up, which you don't actually ever shut up in the online space. You're always kind of talking and sharing, but like you very much have to be fucking convincing. You have to be convincing. I don't know about you all, but like when I needed to change something, I wasn't like, okay, I'm ready to do all the things. I'm ready to go hire someone. I know exactly who I want to hire and I know exactly what I want to do. There's a preparation process in change. So meaning that there is a large majority of your audience right now who isn't ready to buy from you yet. They're in the preparation stage of change. And they're watching your content, and through your content, you're convincing them why change is possible for them, why you're the right person to help them change in a sea of a million other fucking coaches, and why your program is actually one that they can trust and should obtain. I don't know about you, but I have no fucking problem convincing someone that they should try a restaurant when I think it's a really good restaurant. So why the hell would I not try to convince you to join my program if I think my program is fucking amazing and it's going to change your life? And I don't think a lot of people actually mean like, I don't want to convince anyone. I think they're like, I don't want to be an asshole. I think that's really what they're thinking. And it's coming out that way. And sometimes it's from a sense of entitlement of like, and it's not conscious entitlement of like, oh, I've posted and talked about my offer 7 times. Why shouldn't they buy yet? Don't they see me posting all the things? And it's like, no, they probably fucking don't. First of all, they're probably not paying attention. They probably passed through it, tapped on it, and moved on. And they probably don't even realize that you're talking to them because they've only seen it once and didn't even pay attention. So yeah, you are going to have to be a bit more convincing, or yeah, you are going to have to talk about it more. This shit is like I said, the commodity that we're trying to get, the thing that we're competing for. And I don't like to use the word competition, but it really is. The thing that we're competing for is people's attention online. And so we want to have words that captivate, copy that captivates people. So gets them, holds their attention, convinces them, persuades them, influences them to be like, fuck yes, this is the person for me. This is the person for me. And you guys said, oh yeah, so true about the restaurant thing. One of my people still come to me about this. So I went to Asheville, shout out to Dana. I was in Asheville for this solo trip before I went with Dana after our retreat. And it was the first time ever there, right? And I did a live. I had gone to this restaurant and it's called Better Than Sex. Have you guys, I found out there's more in other places, but it's called Better Than Sex and it's a dessert restaurant. Okay. And I go into this place and it's such a vibe. It's such a vibe. Like it's all like dimly lit. It has like the speakeasy energy to it, but it's like Hollywood glam. I'm like, oh, this is my fucking place. Like this is such a vibe. It was all like greens and velvets. And if you know me, it's like, that's my, like, I love that shit. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is amazing. So already I love the place when I walk in. And then I get the menu. And I swear to God, the lady must have known what I was going to order when she saw me, because she gave me this look, right? When she handed me the menu. And I get it. And the first thing I see, my eye immediately goes to 24 karat gold cake. I'm like, I'm like, gold. You mean you would think I want to eat a gold cake? You know, I'm just dripping in fucking anything gold. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Right. So I get it. And it's like pineapple upside down cake is the gist of it. But I didn't really like that. But I'm like, it's gold. So I'm getting it. And so I like order it and she like gave me like a look like she knows. And I get it. And I take a bite. I take a bite of this cake and I literally, it felt like an orgasm in my mouth. I'm like, this is the most delicious thing I have ever tasted. And it made me feel so like luxe and like rich. And I was totally in this energy during this time of like, I'm the baddest bitch and I'm rich as fuck, and like playing in that energy of like, I'm $1 million person. And it was like, it was just feeding all of that for me. It was not only feeding my stomach, it was feeding my ego. And I loved it. And I was like, fuck yes, like give me more, give me more. And I sat there and I ate this thing so slowly. And every bite just got better and better. And I was like, oh my God, this is like, I don't even know if anything will ever compare to this. This might be a moment that will never be able to be recreated in my life. And I just wanted to take it so slow. And I finished it and I was just like, I felt like I needed a cigarette or something, and I don't even smoke. And it's just like, this is so fucking good. And so I went live the next day and I explained to everybody how what I just did right there, when I described that cake, is selling. That's how you write copy. That's how you persuade people to buy. How many of you wanted to eat that cake? How many of you tasted it a little bit while I was talking about it? How many of you could visualize yourself in that restaurant? And I tell you, I was dressed nice as fuck too. I had this new outfit that I had just bought, and I had the shoes on, and I had all my jewelry on, and I was just like in a vibe. I had just climbed my first mountain that morning, so I felt fucking unstoppable. So like I walked in, and there was like an energy there. Shit, I just booked my flight and I'm heading there now. Yes, bitch. Like I've been like, look, and I went back. Me and Dana went back after our Rebirth Your Brand retreat, which shout out is going to be happening again next year around March. We went and I tried to find it. I was like Googling it, like a fucking crack addict. I'm like, where is this place? Where is this place? I'm like, I couldn't find it. It had like shut down. I couldn't find it. It was like, it only appeared that one time in my life for me to walk in. It literally felt like that too. Like it was like a fantasy world that I had walked into. It was amazing. But I went live the next day and I shared the story. I said, listen, I want to tell you a story. And then I told everybody, do you want the cake? And they're like, fuck yes, I want the cake. I said, that's how you sell your programs. Do you believe in your programs the same way I believed in how good that cake was? Because like, if you do, then selling is easy. Writing copy is easy. Persuading and convincing people doesn't have to look like, this is why you should buy my program and you need my program. It's like, I just convinced you to try that cake by telling you a story, by talking about how amazing it was. We'll go deeper into this inside of content to cash flow and in like rebellious mastermind and stuff. I go deeper into this because it does take time and it takes more discussion to really learn. But I think you can take that and really use it. Jewelry you made too, right? Yes, girl. Yes, girl. All right. So I want you to think about what you're going to answer. I'm trying to use my mouse for my desktop instead of my laptop. Okay, hold on. So I want you all to think about like, where are you holding back from being you and saying what you really want? Because that's number one in your copy. If you're trying to sound like someone else, if you're trying to hold back from what you really want to say, like if you want to say orgasm in your mouth, then say orgasm in your mouth in your copy. Like that's going to be something like copy is conversational. It doesn't follow grammar and semantic rules. Like it's very conversational. It's very in your face. It feels like you're talking to the person. It's very it uses a lot of metaphors, right? So there's lots of different things that go into it, but it's casual. So I want you to think about where are you not being you and where are you holding back from what you really want to say? And how would you rate your current copywriting skills? Bye, Susanna. I don't know if you left already. I just saw it in the chat. All right. Now we're jumping into the fourth must-have. So this is we're almost to the end here. Like I'm texting a bestie. Exactly, Dana. Exactly. So this last part here for our fourth step is connect. These past three are connected. This piece here, I wrote a post on it last night, but it's about creating your irresistible offer. Okay. Knowing how to craft an irresistible offer. Your offer is the problem that you solve and the transformation that people will have after they work with you. And then inside of that offer, then you communicate the value of what's inside that offer through features and benefits. Okay. But the main part of an offer is like where I can make a name for a program, put a tagline, and people already want it. Or I can say a couple sentences around what it is without a name or a tagline, and people already want it because I know how to craft an irresistible offer. When you can learn how to do this, and then you use this in your product suite, so setting up your product suite, you are going to get so many more sales, like so many more sales, and sales are going to get so much fucking easier because there is less selling that has to happen when your offer is basically selling itself. Like you don't have to do as much when your offer is like already selling itself. And so one of the biggest things that gets people caught up here is you're trying to sell shit. And I don't know how else to say this except for you're trying to sell shit that people don't want. You're trying to sell something that people don't want. That doesn't mean that they don't want what you have to offer. It means you're talking about it the wrong way. One of the best ways to craft an irresistible offer is to talk to your audience. Talk to your audience. What do they want? What do they need? What are they really struggling with right now? Look at your industry. Where are their gaps? Where are their gaps? One of the things that I saw that I did for messaging magic. That's the first one that comes to mind because we're talking about messaging probably. But I saw that there was nobody offering a low ticket messaging program that actually provided support, that actually helped people figure out messaging. And I'm like, fuck, all of my clients are struggling with this. I have this conversation all the time. I still have this conversation with my own coach around offers. And there are so many people that don't even know what the word messaging means. And I'm like, okay, this is a problem. This is why people aren't hitting 5K and 10K months, even though they've done all the programs, is because they don't have this. And I can think of one person who's here specifically who was in that program who it literally changed everything. Like it shifted her content dramatically. Can I call you out? I think you know who you are. And $97 in Voxer with me. And I went in and I took people's copy and I looked at it and then I rewrote it for them. I was literally writing copy for 5 days straight for people so that they could understand how to do this while voice noting for $97. That was a little while ago. I'll probably do it again. Everybody liked it so much. But like that was, well, we're going to actually do that in content to cash flow, just so you guys know, if you want to go deeper into that, because that's what we do in there. We practice. I create classrooms. Like one of the things that I noticed for my offers is that people don't have classrooms. They have courses and they have coaching and they're teaching, but there's no classroom. And how do you learn? Through fucking doing. And if you have nobody correcting your work when you're doing it, you don't know what the fuck you're doing wrong. And I was like, okay, that's a problem. So how do I create classrooms? And that's how content to cash flow. I think the first time I did that program, that shit sold out pretty fucking quick too, because I was like, hey, you get to come in here and practice writing content and I'll come in and review your content and tell you where you're off, what can be changed, what you're doing well, what to double down on, right? I will be a teacher for you because I know what the fuck I'm doing. And like, so my offer was, let me put this, let me kind of piece all that together. You can see what I'm saying here. So content to cash flow was the title of the program. You already know what it is, right? So far the offer, you already know what it is. Then I had the tagline, which I can't think off the top of my head, but how to write amazing copy that has your clients sliding in your DMs asking how to work with you, right? Okay, there we go. So there's a tagline for it. Boom, I talked about the problem it solves, what they're going to get. Then I tell them why it's different from other programs, why I'm the perfect person to teach it. And I would highlight some of the tools that I've used and results that I've gotten, and my own, because I help with mindset and somatic work in there too. So I can talk about that. That's why it's different. That's what makes me the perfect person to teach it. And then I would share all the things that they're going to get, but not like, oh, this module and this module and this module. I'd be like, you're going to get all of this. And I would encompass that in one paragraph. And it's then offered at a price that is just insane, right? You under promise and over deliver. That's part of making a really irresistible offer too. And that's what brings people coming back for more because then they're like, I fucking love this person. So like, think about everything you're getting here today on a free masterclass, right? This was an irresistible offer. I didn't even have to talk about this masterclass and over 30 people signed up. It was literally just a link in my bio and a couple slides in my stories, like 3 times over the past fucking 14 days or whatever. This is what I mean by creating an irresistible offer. So once you're able to craft it and you know how to do this, and it goes just beyond the title and the tagline, like we're talking about the positioning of it and the benefits and the features and how to communicate that and everything, then you are going to have more sold out programs, more successful launches, more consistent cash flow, more consistent clients, right? And so the goal here, I want to talk about the sold out program part for a minute, because the goal here is not always to have a sold out program. Like right now, I'm launching the Rebellious Mastermind, which there's going to be an invite for that at the end. My goal isn't necessarily to sell that out. Like I'm trying to bring in the right people for that. I want it to be an intimate container. So we might have different goals for different programs, as opposed to like, irresistible offer that's coming up, that now I'm thinking of that because we're talking about this, but now irresistible offer, I do want to sell that out. I have a certain amount of spaces. I want in there. There's going to be a workshop. You're going to have my eyes on your offer, looking at it, helping you formulate it, right? To create an irresistible offer. And that's more of a teaching container. It's not a mastermind and it's a course. So I do want to sell that out. My intention for that is to sell that out, but there's only limited amount of space because I'm going to be doing more closer proximity work at a really low price point. So my goal is to sell it out, but also keep it small so that I can help the people that are in there. So it's not always about, oh, I'm going to craft an irresistible offer and learn the copy and learn all these tools so I can sell out and get all these clients and then not deliver on anything. Because if you're going to make an irresistible offer, you're going to have to make a big statement. You're going to have to make a big statement, right? And if you can't deliver on that statement, or if you fail to just show up because you're so focused on making more sales and getting more clients, then people are going to feel really let down. That's why I always focus so much on making sure I over deliver, not over give. That's people pleasing, a totally different thing, but like over deliver in the sense of like, I'm here with you. Like I got you, like I coach you, like I'm there with you in all of it, because the relationship is really where people experience the maximum benefit inside of that program. So even if God says it's not the time for them to get that result that you're moving them towards yet, they still feel supported and have a connection and relationship with you and are getting what they need, because ultimately what they need more than anything is your coaching and your support. Does that make sense to you guys? Is that landing? Okay. So I want you to think about your offers. What is your offer? What is the tangible result? What makes it irresistible? Everybody's lit up by messaging magic. I should do that one again. So go ahead when you have your workbook, or now if you're writing, to go ahead and do that. So let's jump into our last must-have. Y'all, this laptop is throwing me off so much. Oh my goodness. Okay. So let's talk about your sales system and sales mastery. When I say sales system, how many of you are like, oh yeah, I got one. I know what my sales system is. Okay, perfect. That's fine. Some of you are like, yes. Some of you are like, no. Remember when I was telling you the part of the story where I had the 10K month and then I couldn't repeat it? This was the missing piece, right? This was the missing piece. The messaging and the copy and all of that, like I already knew how to do that, but this was the missing piece, is I didn't know how to actually continuously bring in sales. I was re-signing clients, but I didn't know how to bring in new people. I didn't know how to have that consistency of sales, new and recurring revenue coming in every month. So like new income and recurring revenue coming in every month. So when we're thinking about a sales system, and I actually think I'm actually going to stop the share here, because one of the things I wanted to do for the masterclass was actually show you guys a sales system. If you're in 5-Figure Month Society, you've seen this. Okay. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, but I want to make sure you guys understand as I'm explaining it. Bear with me for a second. I had all this pulled up on my desktop, and then life happened. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat now, and I will, like, anything that's come up over the period of time that we've been talking, and I will come in and answer them towards the end. But if they're on the front of your mind right now, then go ahead and drop them in the chat and I will get to them. Okay. Let me get to share screen. Bear with me. Now, where did share screen go? Am I sharing my screen right now? No, you guys see me, right? Where is my share screen? Oh, here it is. Okay. Just had a brain fart for a minute. Here we go. Okay. So we're talking about a sales system. This is what we are talking about. So you want to have a system set up in your business that moves that is kind of like, I want you to think of it like an engine. Let's talk about like an engine, okay? So an engine has different parts that makes the engine work. But what do you actually need to make the engine go? You need gas, right? So we're going to look at like, how do we put gas in our sales engine? And then how do we make that engine turn so that we can get sales generating in our business? So what we're looking at here is the first phase of the process, which is the awareness phase and the visibility. So how do you get visibility? Well, you have to like create content, right? We need that content that captures people's attention. We start to see how it's all coming together now. We need content that leads to people engaging with our content. And that doesn't always necessarily mean comments and all that, but reading. Reading is engagement, or watching our stories, right? So getting in front of new people every month and then getting those people engaged with our content and giving free value. So one of the things that I do to grow my list and get more visible and put myself in front of new audiences is masterclasses, right? Masterclasses is a way to get more visible. My content sometimes is its own little free masterclass, lives, collaborations, podcasts, all of these things. So we want to have ways to build awareness like, hey, I exist. I'm over here, because the last thing you want, and Ruby says this, right, is you don't want to be the best kept secret. Right, Ruby? We don't want anybody to be the best kept secret on the internet. You can be an amazing fucking coach, but if you don't have people seeing you, you're not capturing their attention, you're not doing things to bring people in, then you're the best kept secret. Now, the next things that happen as you move someone through the system, as you bring them in, that's the gas. The system's rolling. Then you start to nurture and relationship build. This is lead generation and relationship building, key components of your sales system. If you do not know how to generate leads, if you do not know how to build relationships through your content and conversations and the tools and their stories and all of the things, all of the resources that you have available to you. Like if any of you notice, I started a broadcast channel yesterday. Some of you are in there already. I'm building relationships with my audience. I'm finding new ways to build relationships with my audience, right? Because when people know, like, and trust you, they want to buy from you. So the whole part of this sales system is we're bringing people in, we're getting them to like us, we're building love and trust, like and trust. I call it love because your clients tend to just love your brand. It's not even necessarily you. They just love your brand. Like they love what you do. They love how you talk about things. And then they trust you. And then when they trust you and you sell something, they buy from you, right? And we build trust through so many different ways. Sometimes we actually build trust through selling, through a sales conversation. A sales conversation is a great way to build trust. So for those of you who are doing sales calls, that's a key way to build trust with somebody. They might have found you, know and like you, and booked a sales call with you. That's where you get to build your trust. And if they say at the end of the call, I trust you, they're going to say yes to your offer, right? And you have all these other components in place. Then once you have, and I want everyone to notice this because this is what I talked about in the beginning, is that once you have clients in, then the sales system still continues because people are re-signing, upgrading, and offering referrals. I just had a private client sign up last week. It was a referral, right? It was the easiest. Those are the easiest sales because somebody already built the trust for you. It was just like, this person's great, go hire them. And then you get on the phone or you talk to them in the DMs and they're like, okay, I'm in, right? So referrals. And how does that happen? By providing really valuable experiences for your clients. People re-sign with you. You have a product suite that people can move through it with, right? So like when I have Messaging Magic for 97, people who were in that and really enjoyed it are probably going to be interested in content to cash flow because that's a bigger group program all around content and messaging and copy, right? So they're probably going to be more interested in that because there was trust built in Messaging Magic because what did I do? I under-promised and over-delivered, right? And so it's not to say like we're doing these things from any type of like manipulative or get people to do what I want way. They have to be done from a heart-centered way. Like if anytime you're trying to do this from a place of like scarcity of like, okay, I have to do this so that people will buy, it's like, no, find a gap that you really want to solve for people, get excited about it and do it in a heart-centered way. And then do it in a price that feels super aligned to where you feel like you're giving tremendous value. Because if you feel like you're giving tremendous value, people will feel like they're getting tremendous value. Does that make sense to everyone? So it can't be from this energy of like, I have to, I'm going to do this to get. It really has to be like this heart-led process with intentionality behind it, right? And then when that happens, your clients will re-sign with you. They'll come into a masterclass. They'll jump into a mastermind. They'll come into a $97 offer and they'll jump into a group program. They'll come into private and then they'll move into a membership. They'll come into your membership and then they'll move into private. And people just start moving all through the system, right? The system just, it becomes an ecosystem, right? So now it's like everything feeds everything else and everything's working and you're building community and you have amazing clients and all of that is all of it is just working. The engine is running. It's running and it's going and it's producing the sales and the outcomes that you've been looking for. Let me know if anybody has questions around that. I'm going to open up the, we're going to go back to the other screen now that you've seen that. And that system right there that I just showed you is exactly how I built my business. It's what I still do to this day. And one of the things that I learned, because there was a period of time where I was like, oh, I don't have to do that stuff anymore. I don't have to do lead generation and free master classes and provide tons of value online. Like I'm above that. I've hit a certain mark and now I've graduated. And I just want us all to understand that that is not the case. That's not how things work. Like, unless you're fucking Brene Brown, okay? Like, and like you have that type of body who's still, people are still just finding today the power of vulnerability TED Talk. They've never seen it before and they're just finding it today, right? So like that, there's always the need in your business for you to be doing things that generate new audience members, new clients, things like that. All right, I don't know where anything is now. I have no idea where it went. Bear with me for a second, y'all. It's probably over here. How many of you know that you have a sales system in right now, or where do you think the gap is in your sales system? Let's put that in the comments so I can start to get the temperature of where everybody's at with this. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to share it in like not in present mode. My gap, my worth. So right now you think your gap is in your words, Ruby? You think it's the copy and the messaging? My gap is 1,000% DM combos, or that's like a billion DM combos and lead gen. This has been a hang up for me since the jump. So I'm going to be completely honest with you, Claire. Like when I talk about not having my sales system for all that time, it was me not doing lead generation. It was me not doing lead generation. It was me thinking, oh, I've had a 10K month and I don't have to do this stuff anymore. And it actually made me very uncomfortable because I was during the pandemic that I started really like building my business. It wasn't intentional to happen that way. I left my job right before the pandemic. And I had so much fear around talking to strangers on the internet. So much fear around talking to strangers on the internet that they were going to think I was pushy or gross or whatever. And I just literally couldn't get myself to do it. I was fucking frozen, right? Like I was literally frozen when it would come to it. I would know I had to do it, but I wouldn't do it. And then as soon as I started doing it and I just sat down and I spent 2 hours a day, because that's how long it took me to do what I originally used to do, was like a lead tracker and the hashtags and all the things, which I still do some of the hashtags today, but I teach a different way. And you guys know what it is if you've been in my world. But when I started doing that, everything shifted. People just started finding me and it was like, oh, I like you, like literally find me. And like 10 seconds later be like, oh, I really love your content. And it's like, oh, conversation started, or can you tell me about your offer? And it was literally like, I remember there's been so many times where I will do like a lead gen activity, like spend 10 minutes doing lead gen. And then somebody who's never watched my stories before watches my stories. And because I have all the other pieces of the pie together into my stories when I'm selling an offer. They're like, oh, can you tell me about this? Oh my God. Da, da, da. I have a girl in my DMs right now who just found me like, you know, a couple days ago. She messaged me last week and she immediately jumped into plan to be paid. And then she was asking me about the membership, and then she ghosted. And then today, and I don't even really believe that people ghost. Like I think that's just a term that we use, but like I didn't hear from her for a little bit. And then she messaged me back today and she's like, I'm still thinking about the membership. Like, of course you are. Like, what's holding you back? That's my question, is like, what's holding you back from joining? But this is the magic that happens, is like, it was because I went to the party and said hello to people. When you just go to the party and you stand in the corner, nobody's going to, like, maybe one person will come talk to you or another person. But think about the difference in energy where it's like, okay, I walk into a party and I'm like this in the corner. Like, I don't know about people. Like, I don't know, right? Which I will definitely do, because sometimes I can be very introverted and antisocial, as opposed to me walking to the party and be like, hi, and like saying hi to everyone and doing all the things. It's a much different experience. People are going to want to talk to me. They're going to want to have a conversation with me. They're going to know I'm even there, as opposed to me putting my invisibility cloak on and just sitting in a corner and being like, I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to be here. I'm scared of people. I don't want to talk to strangers, right? Like it's such a big difference. And when you think about, that's exactly what's happening on social media. When you actually engage with your audience and have conversations, now all of a sudden more people are coming in, and the equivalent of that is commenting on somebody's post. Now all of a sudden they know you exist. Blaze says, mine is in my, Ruby says, I'd always write what I really think. Yes. Okay. We're talking, that's this week in Ascension too. That's going to be part of your assignment, Ruby. I feel like mine is the offers because I'm building so many great relationships. Amazing. We did a little bit of work around messaging today. So yeah, it's about looking at the offers, and it's just making them so fucking irresistible, which is a lot of your own mindset, honestly. It's not hard to create that, but it's our own mindset that gets in the way of like, can I really say it like that? Can I offer that? Are people going to think I'm crazy? Like, and it's like, you have to kind of like move past that and really get into a place where you feel super confident about your offers and your coaching, so that you can make that offer to them. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to start wrapping up now. So let's come back to where we were. So that was the fifth must-have, was having a sales system. So now this is just to share a little bit of client results of what can happen with this. These are clients from 5-Figure Month Society, Rich, Resilient, Regulated, Rebellious Mastermind. And these are just a few that I've had over the past 6 or 7 months. And these are some of the results that happen when we do this work together. So I have one client who is now consistently having 20 and 30K months. I have another client who has hit her first 20K months and is going back and forth between 10, 20K. I have another client who is just like putting offers out and they're selling out in like minutes. It's ridiculous. Like people are just signing up. Well, not selling out, but people are signing up immediately. So she's making sales immediately. And then I have another client who's selling her one-to-one at a very high ticket price, and she's literally booked out right now. So there are people, like when you put all these pieces into place, you are going to start having those bigger months and those bigger results. It's literally just inevitable. So the thing that I want to really hone in on here is that if you want this to work for you, if you really want this to work for you and you want to put these systems in place, it takes time, it takes support, it takes practice, and it takes mentorship. And whether that, and I'm saying this from like the most heart-centered and like loving place of like, don't try to just figure this out on your own. And I am going to make an invitation to you all right now, but like whether it's me or somebody else, I don't care. Like just get support. That is what I want to say before anything, because I am going to be so real with you. If you try to do this by yourself, it's not that it won't work, but it's going to take so much fucking time, and it's going to be so emotionally exhausting. And it's going to be like, how the fuck do I do this? Because underneath each of these strategies, there's like sub parts, right? So underneath copy and content and messaging, there's like 20 things you got to learn. And then in a sales system, there's like 20 things you got to learn. And then there's this over here that you got to learn. So, but these are the key foundational pieces. And once you put the time and the effort and the energy and invest in your business in that way to learn these tools, it's going to grow. And when you have a strong foundation, you get to build higher and higher and higher and higher without it all falling down on top of you after you have your first 20K month or 30K month, which, hey, don't do what I did and not have a foundation in place with systems and structures, because then all of a sudden you're having 100K quarters and you're like, how the fuck do I manage all of this? Right. And then you have to figure it out while you're in the fucking storm. And that's not that much fun, to try to figure out where the fire extinguisher is when you're already in the fire. You know what I mean? It's much better to be outside of the fire with the fire extinguisher than be there. So I say this because if you're somebody who's really dedicated to having these consistent 5-figure months, then I have multiple ways for you to get support so that you can learn the different tools that you need under each of these categories of growing your business to scale, and do it in a way where you're regulated, you feel supported, you feel like you are doing it in the most aligned and nourishing way, right? Because a big piece of what I do is like, I set up my business so that I can scale. I'm not here to be on Zoom all day long. I'm not here to just be sitting behind a fucking computer. Like, if you looked at my calendar, it's lots of white space. I only have like 4 one-to-one clients a month. The rest is group programs that I only have to show up for maybe once or every other week. All right. So that allows me to take in more clients, make more money, impact more people, reach more heartbeats while still supporting the lifestyle that I want to have. And now even venturing into starting a second business. So if you are someone who is like, fuck yes, I want to learn, I want to do the things, then there are 2 invitations I'd like to extend to you today. Number 1 is 5-Figure Month Society. So you've heard me talk about this. This is a 6 or 12-month membership where you are going to learn the exact curriculum that I used and that so many of my clients have used to scale their business to 5K, 10K, 20K, 30K months, and myself 40 and 50K months. Everything I teach inside of that program is exactly what I use, and it's extended for 6 to 12 months so that you can learn each month a key foundational strategy that you need to scale, and then have time to practice and implement and get on a group call at the end of the month where I can help you work through the questions that you have, get the hot seat coaching that you need, learn the tools, learn how to implement them in a way that works for you. So inside of that membership, you're going to have access to a vault of trainings that you get immediate access to, plus new trainings every month that are live. You get to come on just like this, and I teach you a strategy that month. And then you get additional trainings inside the portal. And then we have a group call. Anybody who signs up today is going to get access to a discounted price. Typically, if you join this program, it's $111 a month. If you join today, you can jump in for $88 a month, or you can do 6 months for $497 when it's normally $550. So you get a discount and you get to join at a lower commitment, because typically people come into this program for 12 months. So this is kind of like a trial run. So if you're somebody who's like, fuck yes, I want something that's long-term, it's a little bit easier access for me financially, that is a great place, because you're going to get the tools and the coaching. The tools and the coaching, which is priceless. All right. So that's the first invitation. For those of you who are like, I already am in 5-figure months, or I already have learned the strategy, I want to go further, I want to go deeper, Rebellious Mastermind is the place for you to come join us. Now, this is where you're going to get weekly group coaching calls with other women who are either where you're at, further ahead, or maybe a little bit behind you. Not that anybody's behind, but still in a different place than you are, so that everybody can collaborate and learn from each other, because there's something to learn from everyone in there. And that is really the power of the mastermind, is not only the mentorship and individual coaching that you'll get on those calls and the trainings that are included and the Voxer support that you have throughout the week, which is basically me in your pocket and you're like, fuck, I got a problem, or, oh my God, this celebration, or, oh, I got a question. You can just pop in there and get that support, which if any of you have been in Voxer, you already know like how insanely valuable that is alone. But you're also going to have this community, and the community that's happened in the past 2 launches of Rebellious Mastermind, like sisterhoods were built. Like, these women are hyping each other up. They're learning from each other. They're helping them figure out each other's offers. They're doing market research on each other. There's so much celebration, so much healing that happens.